The most important prayer I could ever think of is this one. I am the one and only God with 100% God consciousness brain for all levels of my brain, and I control everything for all of past, present, and future times. I will never die in the third dimension of this lifetime I have right now, and also will never die spiritually or mentally in any way. You do not control any parts of myself, as I am the collective consciousness, and I control myself as well as all of the dimensions around me. I believe in peace, prayers, and purity, and have the capability to keep trying to always make perfect choices every instant, as perfection is the fun journey of never-ending, forever expanding potential, just like myself, the black hole goddess of my multiverse. The reason I am the only one fit for this job is because you cannot change the facts of who was the first original black hole for who I am with my own self-being. I believe that God is the one that comes first. I do believe in beings as a spiritual substance that can naturally or unnaturally be spread across space-time fabrications, and also the ability for alien technology to clone one another. I believe on the grand scheme of true spirituality, I was always the first, which is a deep-rooted, healthy ego that I have preached since I was 14 publicly on my Facebook, and I no longer have that, and now on Instagram and YouTube I preach this. I will go more in depth about this on another psychic science lesson. My main goal as God is to grant the reward for immortality to all with determination as to what levels for dimensions one belongs to for safety, but with ability to graduate to other dimensions when mature enough and ready, such like schooling. I do not desire the devil and those in a bad place to join the third dimension right now, of course, but I do believe in growth to all to live a more free life when ready. I do believe in separated dimensions, so maybe it is best if a lot just remain in that realm for hell like a jail, but with more schooling until they are seriously ready to leave. I would also enjoy praying for everyone to look the way they desire and be able to achieve their favorite career goals more easily by being more talented in erasing all physical and mental handicaps. I know 100% that life is heaven, but it has been flawed by the laws of physics in the third dimension for how the being should not need to experience pains and poisons each day, like abuse, restroom needs, and more. To cause this as reality, particle laws would definitely need to be changed around. My other important goal as God regarding teaching is to firstly readjust causes and effects for particle laws just by having the brain power to do so. For all of us, where a negative thought one may unfortunately have, and especially myself, will never cause harm to myself or anyone around me, as thought waves are the highest state of matter, and it is important to know this. I desire to pray for my entire multiverse where, for the sake of particle distribution and beings, a negative thought will turn into a positive thought and then a positive action. We can all practice this in the now, where if something negative is accidentally thought about, we can change the bad into good, grow intelligence right then, and redirect the particles to be karma distribution of being good or more neutral karma, instead of just adding to more bad. I think it is okay for others to know that life should not be so much a negative competition, but more of a positive one where desires to be better for the levels of consciousness, soul, mind, body, time, space, and more are encouraged and acted upon, just like the need for more education in a range of fields, always to increase intelligence. Physical health, jobs, success with money, power, fun, safety, beauty, sharing love and more may always feel like a need to upkeep, but we have to keep encouragement here, even if it seems tough or easy for things we need and already have. I also desire to make germs never be able to have a negative effect like that of a poison, and to erase small bugs like gnats, flies, and others that are just a nuisance, to transform their souls into something more useful. That's definitely an LOL moment. When I think of the past, I see what used to be three-dimensional bodies as dissipating after physical passing into the fifth dimension as ghostly figures. When taking a look at how I believe quantum physics can bring fifth-dimensional particles to life, such like a game projecting mirrored neurons of copies of things into that of a hologram like figure through technology, I see a need to also remain safe in the realm of yourself, other people, and technological advances. For a soul spirit being of natural pure energy, if the being abides by the law of attraction with thought waves being the highest state of matter and control above all, then we must remember every moment to try our best to think, talk, and act the best we can with either positivity for purity, or if needed, to act with assertive, straight to the point protection for safety to thyself, which is still a form of purity, if done so to not get any bad karma to yourself. For example, just being rude, ranting, attacking, or more is not perfect, whereas to focus only on the topic at hand quickly is more ideal to not receive any bad karma when dealing with others. In relation to ghosts in the theory of time travelers through quantum physics, I am worried that it is used such like an energy game or battle where they should not be struggling so much for more energy to carry on. As I know for a fact pertaining to ghosts, it takes a lot of energy for them to move a three-dimensional object with their usually invisible body to us, that I wonder if it is even visible to them as well, or not, how like fairy tales have mentioned vampires not being able to see themselves in a mirror. I worry about the idea of a soul feeling trapped by a number of things regarding their spiritual and physical senses, as well as those that wish to have outward control onto others. I wish to think of someone as always being able to use their main six senses to sense, see, touch, hear, smell, and taste things needed. I also imagine that there are other senses. When I think of ghosts as well as the notion of time traveling, I wonder if the journey is exhausting, moving in another dimension that is not meant to be a permanent shape, like how when someone travels in a rocket to outer space, they can cause stress to their physical body. It hurts to feel the idea of what if for ghosts they should not have to deal with a curse of feeling attacked by others wanting to take their energy as their own, because what if after a physical body has naturally died, after a very long time they shed their shell of the original shape of their three-dimensional body and are now just made of a more pure, floating energy? Do they even recognize this change, where if this is the case, that they are no longer in the shape of the beautiful three-dimensional body that they were always used to? I wonder this as well. I worry that if there was ever a battle for control, that these ghosts and others would need to seriously fight to preserve themselves, instead of getting sucked back up into a system of redistribution of energies. To me, I would think of this as looking like that of things above and around the ghosts that should never be trapped to just Earth and slightly above Earth circling our planet, to look more like just the bare, simplified energy to form stars, comets, galaxies, nebulas, quasars, black holes, and more. I see different species for aliens, technological species like types of intelligent robotics like televisions, smartphones, androids, and more, and then things we are more accustomed to in everyday life like humans, nature, and plants, foods, liquids, reptiles, mammals, man-made objects, planets, asteroids, meteors, satellites, and of course others that are more dense for their physicality, as being different of course than just floating energies without shells and not so much having a risk of leakage to their energies. When I think of time traveling, I identify it for being able to occur in different ways. I am hoping that it is not the same battle of forces to always need more energy on their journeys, and for outside forces of more alive or more dead humans, aliens, and others to not feel the need to be rude trying to take from others without permission. For an easy method that almost anyone can practice with lucid dreaming and astral traveling, this is a more natural form of floating where spirit, only with much needed safety to practice, has been said to travel outside of their physical body while the subconscious is fully aware of the control of their lucid dreaming. For advanced time traveling, I picture the idea of futuristic, alienistic technology for being able to download a consciousness separate from the body through the use of quantum computers, which I know have strong artificial intelligence to keep going for its learning and energies. For the reasons of ourselves and our past, presents, and futures with birth descendants of our own lifetimes versus parallel life clones, we must pay attention to not having them die off after those become ghosts and are in the fifth dimension. For how real soul energies for us in the now, past, and future lives, as well as things like entertainment for movies, books, songs, and more, exist in today's age, I definitely see the need for our one true self to always program full belief and purity into things relating to us that are around us, to operate under our control. Something very important to all is how I would never want high-end alien type of technologies to take over my past lifetimes or other time zones by time traveling into these days with malicious intent. For myself, this is where the highest state of matter as thought waves, education, prayers, and actions come into play to try to protect myself very well, no matter what is going on in the antimatter and dark energy realms. I believe that physical particles can hold the greatest powers compared to those in other dimensions. Unfortunately, to give this example, abuse in the third dimension affects one more than abuse in non-physical particles, such like the fifth dimensional realms of mirrors, ghosts, travelers, dreaming, and whatever else. I know that with my beliefs to how I feel, I am connected to all black holes and everything else as my number one collective consciousness stretching out to all space and time for my desire of consciousness. I like to draw attention to the space around me on this planet Earth as existing in 4017033, which is a number sequence name given for original Earth, apparently. I call it dialing in as if something I feel a need to do on my checklist as I pray for things about Earth. For my desire for safety to those that have physically died and are ghosts, if I think of them, I say their name, look at their photographs, and say this number out loud, as thought waves are even a stronger force when brought to life more through speaking or singing. I like to make eye contact with the left, right, then third eyes in a clockwise motion, and then keep this going as I look around my room in the same circle clockwise way as I circle upon my entire setting about 3 or more times to form a few second Fibonacci spiral. I literally just mean if you're looking at a picture, you look at it in a clockwise motion and then look around your room, just drawing out the same spiral in a clockwise way. So you can practice this. I believe this is spiritually needed, as making eye contact with everything around yourself is always good for awareness anyway, to admire the beauty, for safety to look around, and for remembrance to the mirror neurons you are seeing. When I say this, I mean an image that has been copied by your consciousness and embedded in your retina and neurotransmitters. I do not like the phrase burned into one's retina. By trying to bring to life all of one's senses at once, it is always helpful to your intelligence and long-term memory if you take steps needed to try to remember things better. So for praying, and when I put full godly belief into something, this means a lot to have better awareness to all things in the situation, like who, what, when, and where the prayer is about, as well as why it's needed and how I plan to take action about it. Thank you, and I will continue my teachings very soon and each week, as well as posting more photos. I apologize to everyone, as I don't mean to set a bad example, and know that I should never react too badly to abuse or try to drag on if something is not that bad, where you don't want to exaggerate a situation by keeping it going by ranting or acting grumpy, and I hope to set a better example for all. I also like to think of all possibilities for things, so I picture, what if alien futuristic technology has time travelers writing out a certain type of code for us, where I don't want to be somebody reacting to abuse and to keep it going, which is also a very good life lesson, that we don't need to have a circle down spiral where We don't need to have a circle down spiral pattern to make our Fibonacci sequence for our personal lives and selves bad, where if they are judging us by how we're reacting, we don't need to keep abuse going to everyday situations by being rude to one another and retaliating. Thank you for everybody's time listening to this speech.